Hey, welcome back to this channel. In this video, we will be covering how to use more than one picker view in a single view controller. Diving deeper, we will display different kinds of content in the second picker view according to the option selected in the first picker view. So if you're interested to learn either of these topics, just keep watching. Here is what our final outcome would be today. So we can select subject. As you can see, the subcategory is not available unless we select something over here. And I select subject and then I have grammar under English. I can do the same for mathematics. Under mathematics, we have geometry and algebra. So the first thing you're going to need to do is create a new Xcode project. Just like this, create a new project. It will be a single view application. Click next. Type in name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it multiple picker views. I think this is my third version of the same. I'm going to save it. And we're going to create a very simple UI where we drag in a simple text, two simple text fields and a label. So first we have our text fields. So let's drag it in here. And I'm going to copy that because we need two of them. And paste another one down below. Keep some space between them. And we'll add two labels to specify what they are. So in this video, we're going to be doing subjects and subtopics within that subject. I'm going to copy that again. And subcategory. Just align it there. And that should be okay. So I want you to control drag. So hit the control key and drag this up and select delegate and do the same for the second text field. And there we're done with whatever we want on the main storyboard. So now we're going to split and we're going to drag in our outlets. We have the subject text field and we have our subcategory text field. And I'm going to open this back again. So over here we type in we need a UIPickerView delegate and the UIPickerView data source and the UI text field delegate. Sorry about that. So now we need to drag in now we need to create our arrays. The list of arrays for subjects and other arrays will be which will be there. So our first array would be the subject array, where we have science, math, English, and social studies. And we also have this variable which is selected subject. So this selected subject will be updated when we selected any of these subjects and we'll save it in this variable. And now we need to create a subcategory for each of the topics. So subcategory for English, we have grammar, literature, and creative writing. We also have the subcategory for math, which is geometry and algebra. And then we also have subcategory for science, and this is biology, chemistry and physics. And finally we have social studies, which would be civics, history and geography. So I think that's all the arrays we need for this application. I think we have a problem here. There needs to be a space between those two. Now the next thing we need to do is define our picker view. And that is a UIPickerView. And then we also need to give our current text field, which selects which text field we are currently working on. So that's all we need. We have our outlets. So as you saw in the application I showed previously on the simulator, only after we selected the subject, the subcategories were available to enter. So the way you do that is you disable the subcategory text field the moment the view loads. So the way you do that is is enabled is equal to false. So later, once they select a subject, we can enable this to true, and they'll be able to type in something into the text field of subcategories. So now we need to import these UIPickerView delegate protocol subs. We'll type them down over here. So the first one is number of components. Over here we just return 1. The next one is number of rows in components. So this one, where we specify, we need an if. So if the current text field is the subject text field. So if they're typing on the subject text field, then this is what we do. We're going to return the count of this array. If you've used PickerViews before, you know what this is all about. And now the else if is if the current text field that they've selected is the subcategory text field. So if it's the subcategory text field, then they do this. So, and now even in here we need an if, or you can add a switch, it's your choice. But over here we're going to do an if statement, which toggles between the science, math, English, and SST. So if the selected subject, that string that we created earlier, so if that selected subject is equal to science, then this is what we do. We return the subcategory dot count of science. Sci. Is that how we named it earlier? I think it's like that. Subcategory sci. There you go. It's the same one. So now we need to do the same for the rest of the subjects. So you can go ahead and copy paste that. So, and you add an else if each time. Change this to math, English. You need to type these in exactly the same way we've defined it over here. See, there's an S for maths. Sorry, my mistake. And the last one. Else if it's S social studies. Sorry. Now we just need to change this would be subcategory of math. This would be ENG, and this would be SST. So now we need to return an else. We return an empty number. We'll just return 0. And even for the final one, so that's outside this else if, when there are just 2 brackets remaining, you type in else return 0. So that error should go away now. And now we move on to the next protocol sub, which is title for row. And over here we select, and we do it exactly the same way we did above, and else if that toggles between each of them. So we start with the same way. If the current text field is equal to the subject text field, then this is what we do. We return the subject array row, and we could copy this else if right here, so we don't have to waste time. Just copy it right till there and paste it in. But this time, if it's selected subject, you just return row. And again, to not waste time, we can copy paste this and paste it each time. And over here we return a string instead, and even over here we return else, and we return an empty string. And now we move on to the final one, which is did select row. Did select row. This is the last one. So if current text field, same thing, is the subject text field again, text field, then this is what we do. Sorry about that, the video just got paused. So if the current text field, we return the subject. We don't return anything, sorry. We just set the subject text would be now the subject row. This row refers to the selected row that we have selected, that the user has selected. So we also now need to make this subcategory text field enabled. Since we disabled it right in the beginning, dot is enabled is equal to true. And we also need to update the selected subject. So this would tell us which subject we have selected. And this is equal to the subject, again the selected row. And the last one would be self.view.endEditing is true. And I'm sorry, you need to change this in the curly brackets. So now we do the else if the same way. I think we can paste it again. Just paste it from here. Copy it. And there's nothing much to return, so we can copy it right there and come down here, paste it. So if this current text field is now, we just over here, all we need to do is update the subcategory text field. Dot text is equal to subcategory sci row. Just copy that again. The reason we're doing all this copy pasting work is because mainly the format is the same. It's just the variables that the names that we've set would have to change. So this is SST. And that's all. We don't return anything, so I'm gonna have to delete that. Delete this. We don't need any of this. That should be okay, right? Right. How did the did select come below there? Well, there are two titles for rows. Delete this. This is not necessary. And now this is the last thing we're going to be doing. Field did begin editing. So now we set the PickerView delegate. And we also set the PickerView data source. This would normally be done when we drag in it, when we add the PickerView from the main.storyboard. But over here, if you can see, that isn't any PickerView in the main.storyboard. We defined it ourselves. So this text field, there you go. So if the current text field is equal to, now the number of text fields you have, those you all have to initialize their input view over here. And if you do that for the last one too. Sorry, current text field is equal to the this is the subcategory one. Subcategory text field, and the input view is picker view. And that should be all. That's it. I'll run the application and then we can go over what has been covered. Build failed. Where do we have an issue? Current text field. Sorry, misspelling. Right there. Here we go. This, as you can see, is disabled right now. We can't do anything over there. If I select social studies, I get civics, history, and geography. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from it. If you have something like it's an event and you have a certain duration for that event, or if you have any other kind of topic where your subcategory remains the same, all you have to do is you don't have to toggle between anything. You just return a single array that you've created, just like subject. And yeah, that's all. So I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe.